and tail, sometimes here, sometimes there, but ever on and on. Once, when he was out, he perceived in the blue distance a steep hill, and behind it a tower reaching to the clouds, which rose up out of a wild, dark forest. "Thunder and lightning," cried the tailor. "What is that?" And as he was strongly goaded by curiosity, he went boldly towards it. But what made the tailor open his eyes and mouth when he came near it was to see the tower had legs, and leapt in one bound over the steep hill, and was now standing as an all-powerful giant before him. "What do you want to hear, you tiny fly's leg?" cried the giant with a voice as if it were thundering on every side. The tailor whimpered, "I want just to look about and see if I can earn a bit of bread for myself in this forest." "If that is what you are after," said the giant, "you may have a place with me." "If it must be, why not? What wages shall I receive?" "You shall hear what wages you shall have every year 365 days, and when it is a leap year, one more into the bargain. Does that suit you?" "All right," replied the tailor, and thought in his own mind, "A man must cut his coat according to his cloth. I will try to get away as fast as I can." At this the giant said to him, "Go, little ragamuffin, and fetch me a jug of water." "Had I not better bring the well itself at once, and the spring too?" asked the boaster, and went with the pitcher to the water. "What? The well and the spring too?" grumbled the giant into his beard, for he was rather clownish and stupid, and began to be afraid. "That knave is not a fool. He has a wizard in his body. Be on your guard, old Hans. This is no servant for you." When the tailor had brought the water, the giant bade him go into the forest and cut a couple of blocks of wood and bring them back. "Why not the whole forest at once with one stroke? The whole forest, young and old, with all that there is, both rough and smooth?" asked the little tailor, and went to cut the wood. "What? The whole forest, young and old, with all that there is, both rough and smooth, and the well and its spring too?" growled the credulous giant into his beard, and was still more terrified. "The knave can do much more than bake apples, and has a wizard in his body. Be on your guard, old Hans. This is no servant to you." When the tailor had brought the wood, the giant commanded him to shoot 2 or 3 wild boars for supper. "Why not rather 1,000 at one shot, and bring them all here?" inquired the ostentatious tailor. "What?" cried the timid giant in great terror. "Let well alone tonight, and next morning the giant and the tailor went to a marsh, round which stood a number of willow trees. Then said the giant, "Listen, tailor, seat yourself on one of the willow branches. I long of all things to see if you are big enough to bend it down." All at once the tailor was sitting on it, holding his breath, and making himself so heavy that the bough went down. When, however, he was compelled to draw breath, it flung him, for unfortunately he had not put his flat iron in his pocket, so high into the air that he never was seen again, and this to the great delight of the giant. If the tailor has not fallen down again, he must be hovering about